think I am being too harsh on Trump, you're welcome to tell me why.
Okay, I don't think across the board you're being too harsh on him, but I think this needs some context. So on the forgiveness front, because I think that's the most important thing for every American to think about. You know, Erika Kirk was magnificent, and I don't use that word. I can't remember the last time I used that word. Heartfelt, a woman of faith, and a great example to everybody. And I'm echoing what has been said across the land. With Trump's reply to her, he was just being honest. And I don't mind that honesty because I did the same thing with my audience. And it ties into the concept of evil. You mentioned my book. It'll be #1 on Sunday at the New York Times list. And we're very happy that people are paying attention to evil. The problem with forgiveness is that if you don't feel any remorse, you'll do it again. Mm-hmm. So am I supposed to forgive Mao Zedong? Well, he didn't know any better. He didn't know about Christianity. He didn't care about Christianity. And he mowed down 20 million of his own people. Do I forgive him? Because he didn't say he was sorry. All 15 miscreants in my book, none of them repented. That's why I put them under the evil banner. None of them said they were sorry.
Okay, we can agree that Kirk's killer is evil.
Yeah, but her take on it was, I wrote Killing Jesus, the book Killing Jesus, and the Roman centurions who murdered Jesus, put him on that cross, killed him. They didn't know what they were doing. They're following orders. They didn't know Jesus from anybody. They didn't know what was going on. Pilate said, nail him to the cross, and that's what they did. And so there, Jesus had, and this is historically accurate, he said, they know not what they do. Well, the assassin of Charlie Kirk knew what he was doing. Mm-hmm. He absolutely knew it. And that's what makes Mrs. Kirk's forgiveness so extraordinary. But for Trump to say, honestly, hey, I'm not there because I feel the same way he does.
Yeah, but he wasn't, hold on. But he wasn't talking, no.
Wait, let me just explain. It's important for you to understand this. People have tried to destroy Donald Trump and his family. People have tried to destroy Bill O'Reilly and his family. I know who they are. They're unrepentant. If they could do it, they would do it. Do I have forgiveness in my heart for those people? I do not. And that makes me a lesser Christian than Erika. It does, and I'll admit it. But I kind of like Trump being honest about that very, very difficult theological tenet. Okay, the second thing that I disagree with you on...
Oh, boy, do we have time for the second thing? Go ahead.
Well, I don't know. If you want to get to the Tylenol, I'll wrap it up fast. But
I was going to get to Kimmel. But let me just ask you a question though, and then you can get to your second thing. Trump didn't say the people trying to destroy me, the people indicting me. He just said my opponents. I can't stand my opponents.
Okay, but you know what he's talking about.
Okay, hold on. But just hear me out here, Bill. I would say to you that this isn't about Democrats or opponents. This is about Republicans and understanding that the Turning Point USA crowd, the people in that auditorium, were there because of something bigger than Donald Trump. And this was the first time I understood it. I hadn't seen it. I didn't get it until I showed up there, and that's why we go out. That's why NewsNation's wonderful in the sense that they force us to go out and tell these stories and not just sit in studios and talk about them. And I'm grateful for the opportunity. I didn't understand, though, that group there was about something bigger than Donald Trump. And I wonder if Trump is not alienating the very people he needs, the very people MAGA needs over the next 3 years.
I think you're 100% right that the crowd was not there for a political rally. 100% right. But where it gets complicated is the Turning Point movement merges with Donald Trump almost 100%. And I think that the president went in and said, this movement backs me, and I'm going to give the people in the stadium a winning profile to say, yes, we have a severe loss, but we are still on the road to victory. I think that's what was in his mind. But
Okay.
you're 100% right. It could have been misinterpreted as a selfish act of politics. I didn't see it that way because I know Trump very, very well, all right? And he wanted to merge the two groups that you refer to accurately. That's what his goal was. And, you know, when I saw Erika, Kirk, come out after, when he called her out, there was no hesitation for her to embrace the president. She obviously, she obviously didn't have any problem with his presentation.
No,
now,
I agree with that.
Kimmel.
Hold on, let me ask you a question about Kimmel. I'm going to get okay. Jimmy Kimmel is coming back, right? And it proves a couple of things, right? That this was not some authoritarian regime, because otherwise ABC wouldn't have brought him back if this was the ending of free speech and the chilling of the First Amendment, blah, 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 blah. You think he's going to apologize?
No.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't think he will. Look, this story is bogus. The worst that Kimmel should have gotten was community service, okay? Let him cut some lawns or, you know, go to a soup kitchen. And he did something wrong and dumb, okay? If he doesn't acknowledge it, he doesn't acknowledge it. Doesn't matter to me one bit. I don't think he should have been banished, canceled, any of that, because they try to do that to me. And again, I bring it back to, I don't want that to happen to anybody else. But I'll tell you what, this is not the story. The story is that Disney and Kimmel, for 3 years, would not put on a non-liberal voice on his program. You talk about no freedom of speech and expression. That story has been totally ignored, and it's not just ABC. It was CBS, NBC, MS, and CNN, okay? They will not put any non-liberal voice on the air, and I know that because I'm in this midst of marketing confronting evil.
Yeah.
And before Trump entered the political arena, I got on those shows routinely because I bring high ratings to the shows. And the books are #1. This is the 20th #1 bestseller we've had. There's no reason not to put me on. It's a good segment with Kimmel. It's a good segment with Colbert.
Bill, look at the screen. Bill, look at the screen. That's you. That's you and Kimmel. Roll the tape.
That's me.
Roll the tape.
Before
anybody who is enjoying a destruction of this man, you got to look at yourself here. And there's a lot of people seem to be real happy that his career is going down a drain. That disturbs me. He made a mistake. Is it a character flaw? I don't know. If it is, he's going to lose his job.
That's you talking about Brian Williams when Brian Williams misremembered the many places that he was not. Look, Bill, it's interesting, right? Because there's this forgiveness in your heart. You're forgiving Kimmel. You're forgiving Brian Williams.
But I don't think Brian Williams needs my forgiveness. I thought what happened to him at NBC was wrong. I think they overreacted to it. But the point is, and this is such an important point, this whole freedom of speech BS is coming from the far left to make Kimmel a victim and to make Trump a villain. When for 10 years, they have banished all traditional conservative thought and discourse on all of their programs, all of them. Okay, you have a book coming out next week. Let's see how much you get booked. They don't want non-liberal voices. That is Putin stuff.
Well, it's interesting. You say they don't want non-liberal.
Story?
Right. Well, that is the story. Now, the question would be, right, if Disney would say to Kimmel, hey, or any of these guys, and it may be happening at CBS, right? Say to these guys, hey, look, you need to start booking non-liberal voices, not because it's the right thing to do, because we know that Disney doesn't care about that, but because it's the necessary thing to do for business. And that's the question I ask you, because I remember I used to watch you long before I even got to Fox News, and you were right when you used to say the media is in the tank for the left. The media was the media at all. But now that there is effectively media tribalism, right? This side, this group of media roots for this team, that group of media roots for that team, NewsNation and I are in the middle. why does it matter that ABC only has leftist voices and Fox only has voices on the right?
Because it's dangerous. It's indoctrination. When you have 5 major television news operations, 5, banning all conservative guests, that's a danger. That's Red China. That's Russia. Okay? Don't give me freedom of speech, 400 movie stars. When you care a whit, you don't care at all that any non-liberal can't get on these programs. You are the biggest hypocrite in the country. And Kimmel leads the league because Kimmel got big ratings when I was on, knows me, we had a respectful relationship, but now, in the age of Trump, anybody who doesn't hate Trump forfeits an appearance on the networks. That is absolutely the story. It's not being told, and I'm here to tell it.
Well,
because
yeah.
I'm right in the middle of the damn thing.
And I think there's another point to this, and it goes to what I'm going to talk to Jay Bhattacharya about later, what I wrote the op-ed in the Wall Street Journal about, is that there is a large group of people who hating Trump is the most important thing in their life, right? They hate Trump more than they hate big ratings. They hate Trump more than they want to find a cause for autism. They hate Trump almost more than they really want America to succeed at times. That is the only thing that matters. Is that a function of Trump, or is that sort of what happened with Charlie Kirk, right? Because Charlie Kirk was hated, I don't think so much for his views. And I've done a lot of thinking about this, but he was hated and he was killed because he was so effective at it, right?
I think Charlie Kirk lost his life because of his belief system. That's what I believe. But here's how bad the hate Trump thing is. The governor of Illinois would rather have dead bodies on the south side of Chicago, primarily African American, than take the level of protection that Trump offers. He'd rather see people gunned down in the street than to give Trump the satisfaction of saying, send in some feds, calm everything down. That's bad. That is over the top, because people actually die because of Trump hatred. I don't think I can get any more vivid than that.
Yeah, well, it is clear, and having lived in Chicago and now lived in Washington, D.C., where Trump did send in the National Guard, as you know, Bill, when I think you're wrong, I argue with you, and I can't in this case because you're right.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.